Getting ready to head out this morning from Friday Harbor. And as I was packing up the bags, a thought happened to me. I remember a couple days ago when we arrived on this ferry that as it's pulling in, the propulsion, it has two equal engines, 11,000 horsepower on both sides. There it is. One in the back, one in the front. And so it can go equally both ways, both directions. And as it's coming into dock, the front engine fires up, and this whole area here is just filled with this huge current because the rear propulsion's bringing it in, but the front one slows it down, and it brings it in just inch by inch perfectly. And it's such a display of control and power because this one I think carries like 124 cars or something. It's just massive. And on this trip, I found this book, Passages, at a thrift store, and it was highlighted to me, and I bought it, and I've been reading it. And oddly enough, over at Roche Harbor, there was a boat that was named Passages in like the same coloring that Valerie and I saw yesterday on our walk, which blew me away. It's like, okay, I need to be reading this thing. But one of the components in this is it talks about identity crisis, and this the language in there describes our merger self and our seeker self. There's one that wants safety and wants to not risk and just feel safe in the world, and then there's another part of us that wants to explore and adventure and discover and satisfy curiosities, and that either one can be taken to extreme. And there's examples in there, and it occurred to me, just like this ferry boat, part of me wants to follow my dreams and make a difference and speak to the injustice and speak to the things that I think are ailing, the fatherlessness, the identity issues that I go through from being fatherless in my upbringing, and then seeing it impact my culture, my country, my world, my generation. And there's these big swells of empathy and motivation to do something, to say something, to be a part of the change. And then there's a part of me that's like, who are you? Like, sit down and shut up. Be thankful for what you have. Don't risk. There's this part of me, this merge yourself, that's like, just blend in, just be a part of the things. Like, it's too big for you to change. Don't. And what I see is both are a part of me, both that we're torn. I'm learning to identify that when I'm torn, it's not a symptom or a signal of something wrong with me. It's actually something very right with me, that I'm aware of both sides, that I'm conscious of both forces. And just like this ferry boat, when it's cruising through the water, it's like full speed ahead, the rear engines are all ahead go. But once it's coming into harbor, the captain fires up this front engine and he backs off the rear one, and he brings it to a place where he has just this absolute skill and control to bring it in just an inch at a time and park it just perfectly, not ramming into the big stops there. No, he comes in just inch by inch by inch by inch, and just there it is, and snugs it up, and the guys tie it off, they drop the ramp, and everyone drives off, and all the other people that are waiting drive on, and they back it out, and they do it all over again. They transfer, I think I read, 11 million cars a year on this ferry system up here in the Salish Sea. But I'm learning to embrace that torn consciousness. And I think the more that, instead of hiding from one side or the other, or avoiding one side or the other, the more that I can understand that's just a part of who we are. It's a part of who I am. And the more I can embrace it and understand it and understand the way it works, the more I can engage both sides with skill and accomplish something. Bringing people from one port to another port, from one area to another area. And I can be that ferry boat. I can transfer people with my words, with my thoughts, with my encouragement, with my story. I can transfer people if I use both engines. But it does take skill, and it does take practice, and it does take a willingness to fire up that front engine. Otherwise, you just come crashing into harbor. And I've done that so many times where you just have the one engine that works. That's the only one you know how to work. You know how to explore. No, you can't make commitments. You can't be dependable. You just gotta, feel freedom and go after freedom. And you just end up crashing into things in life. You're like, I don't know what's going on. Well, you got to fire up that other engine of your merger self, the part of you that wants to feel safe and wants to have dependability, have a safe harbor, have a home base. Nurture that, and then adventure out with your dreams, with the motivations of your heart, and engage that other engine. And if all you ever do is stay in your merger self and never want to do anything, try anything, explore anything, okay, well, engage the seeker self. Get out there, start, taking the music lessons, writing the stories, writing the songs, engage your creative self, engage your exploratory senses and your curiosities, and both are a part of you, both are a part of me. And I just felt this freedom kind of come over me to go, like, I don't have to feel like something's wrong with me because I have these opposing forces within me. I used to think that was an indication that something was broken. Like, why can't I just make up my mind? Why can't I just do something? And I have before in my life, but I find myself in a new crisis area and a new middle fork in the road kind of thing. And it's like, this has been so revelatory to be like, okay, both my engines, I got to fire up the rear engines and get moving, but I also got to fire up that front engine once in a time and come into harbor safely, securely, slowly, skillfully. I got to nurture my base camp. I also got to nurture my adventure site. I got to get out there. I got to put myself out there. I can't be avoidant. So it just feels like I got to know or understand myself a little bit better today through this. And I just love these ferry boats. They're just absolutely amazing. They're so amazing. And look at the community. The community, there's all these islands, but the community around here gets to thrive and be supplied and resourced daily by food and supplies and workers and tourists and capital. And they get to thrive on this island that would be desolate if it weren't for that ferry system. It brings life, transports life, and I get to be similarly in my humanity. If I engage both sides of myself, if I explore both with skill and control, I can also engage. It's like they're firing up those engines. Probably going to be taking off here in a minute. Yeah, that rear engine's fired up. I'm gonna see that front engine's firing up right now. Oh, we gotta watch it take off. It's so lovely. Yeah, see that water just start to shoot out. But the rear engine's fired up too. It's both of them at the same time, and you need that opposing force to control at a specific level. It can't just be one or the other. You got to have that balance. What a perfect illustration. And there it goes. There it goes. Love it.